Hello, hello, and welcome back to Oolykee Gaming, and welcome back to another episode of Workers and Resources Mod Monday. Today we have 11 mods, map, planes, trucks, the whole shebang. First things first, I need to apologize. Again, we had over 100 mods. I only have 11 of them, which is more than 10%, but still. These are the ones that caught my eye, and I thought that you guys gonna like the most, and we're gonna present them one by one. First, my sweet spot. First things first, FAP truck or FAP KAMIONI. This is for me, this was made in Yugoslavia. Today is the Serbia. FAP or FAP trucks are also known. The factory is called Fabrika Automobila Priboj, I believe. Right, that's a kind of iconic truck for the former Yugoslavia, and definitely close to my heart. So let me tell you what the modders Siakin and Negab Skezoj, right, it's anagram. So anyway, FAP Fabrika Automobila Priboj is an Yugoslavian Serbian licensed producer of Mercedes NG trucks, and the Serbs changed the Mercedes engine into Famos engine. Their own gearbox and name Serbian of these trucks is Mešanac crossbreed. FAP are making these trucks from 1976 until now. But they need to improve some changes during 90s, and they gave it a better engine from Mercedes Atego in 1996. Creators Tvorci, Siakin, the guy who wrote this, script, skins, box, cooler, Furgon models, etc. Jozek Z Bagien, model of Mercedes NG, and Gerbliski fire truck bumper. Right, this mod actually consists of several trucks. It's at least 11 of them. You can buy them in, of course, for rubles, and in my case they're gonna be the last ones because this is the mod I installed. And there we go, you can see the FAP trucks here. It's 8 of them here and additional 3 here. Of course, I only put the ones that I bought straight away. They are different color schemes. You can buy any of them anywhere. It's quite amazing. You have several different models and color schemes. So what do we have? Let's check here. So we have, this is the normal covered hull, open hull, 9 tons of aluminium. That's actually not bad. We have again covered hull. Here we go, and then we have, is this a freezer truck? No, that's another cover hull with a little bit of different weight scheme. 18 tons of gravel. That's a lot. Let's check this. This is dumper truck. I didn't notice this before, but let's check what we have here. So we have 2 different dumper trucks, one of them 18 tons and 20 tons. Ooh, that's sweet. That's a lot. It seems like it's a little bit big, unrealistically big, but who am I to judge? Who am I to judge? It's been a while since I saw one of those bad boys, but we can always compare them. This is a firefighting truck. We're gonna replace this one with the dumper truck, the biggest one we have here, KMZ, and definitely capacities don't seem to match. But anyway, we have them, and yes, they're in game. Let's move on. Right. Next thing we have, Boeing 747. Right, this was made by Mauser NATO. I think it does, so he wrote, I think it does not need introduction to options covered and passenger, 13 colors, currency. Right, so what's the deal? I only built 5 of them because there was too many, and actually it's 13 color schemes you have regarding this plane. It's iconic Boeing 747. You have the 2-floor plane, first class, and the rest of us mortals. Actually, I never flew in one of those, but anyway, so these are the color schemes I chose just as a representation, and they're enormous, of course, as you might expect. They have capacity of 600 passengers. You can see here 660 passengers. which again, it might be a little bit too much. I think the original version was 400 or something. I might be wrong there, I'm not really sure. Okay, so I'm gonna also demonstrate them flying. So let's... Oh, first things first. Okay, let's check. How much do they cost? They cost arm and a leg, and I'm literally serious. They cost 1 million initially. It costs more than any of the Soviet planes. The most expensive Tupolev 144 would be the equivalent of this. Well, at least the most expensive one on the Soviet side. But the amount of passengers it can carry definitely is large-scale transport for your people. You can see the biggest transport plane, passenger transport plane, is Tupolev 156 with 164 passengers. That's what we can create in our Soviet Union. But of course, you can always create your own. Planes there. You don't have to really import them. But there you go, 747, but Bowser NATO. And here we go, we can see a takeoff of Boeing 747. Come on, get your nose up, here we go, and off it goes. Right, I have several of them, we're going to be circling around, we're probably going to see them in this video a little bit more. So anyway, let's move on. Next thing is gonna be something controversial that I'm not the biggest fan of, but I think it needs to be introduced for you guys who want to take a chance, and this would be by Novu, electric heating plant that can be placed just about anywhere, requires huge amounts of electricity, best built near power plants. Yes, exactly what he said there is a really, really important thing to note. It does take enormous amounts of electricity, so technically you would be turning your nuclear fuel or coal energy into electricity and then turning it back into heat, which I think you're even losing money on that compared to having a coal heating, but this is much cleaner. But bear in mind that during the winter you're gonna have enormous electricity costs. This one can take 3 megawatts, 3.5 megawatts of power, depending on how many buildings are connected to it, so they have to heat a lot. I definitely suggest that you be careful when you're building those. So, and also have adequate power line connection to them, because they can cause some issues down the line with your fluctuation of the power grid. This is what I found while playing with those, and I'm trying to phase them out because of that particular mod. Probably nothing to do with this mod, so could be that this is much better. But anyway, this is one of the things that we definitely should bear in mind. These electrical heating plants are really heavy on our electrical grid. So you can find them in heat exchanger. We can go and check it out under H heat exchanger, and under heating plants, and you can find them here. Automatic heating plant, 21,000 rubles, and of course Mr. Wizard Novu, you can place them anywhere you want. You won't have any geographical issues with placing them. Okay, moving on. Right, Mr. Pyro, we have something new, we have something different. We have something from our Islander friends. I live in Ireland, we have them north of the border, these kind of things. These are UK style housing. Not only that you get 2 types of houses, you actually get much more. You get the small garages. These are extremely cute, extremely nice, and if you want to plan your suburbs, this is the way to go, because these garages can be packed tightly. We can go and check them out. This would be under parking lots, and you can see here small garages. We have several types here. These are the small ones we placed here. You can place them quite snugly next to each other. You have a double garage, and you have a quadruple garage. You have here we go. This is large garage. You can place, if you place your garage first and then you go to your residential buildings, of course we have too many of them, so I'm gonna just go and find real quickly where our UK houses are. Here we go. And then you can place those houses quite close to your garages, and it would be for people who are actually living there. I'm just gonna remove this small garage that I accidentally placed here, and the houses. Yes, of course, you have 2 houses, one for 8 people living in there, and one of them smaller for 4. I think that's perfect size. That this is just what we needed in the game. A small parking lot, something that we can design realistically, suburbs, and yeah, I think this game is catching up. Well, giving us a lot of options with you know, having our artistic spirit lifted. Anyway, moving on. Mr. Hindog. Hindog, he made a couple of mods for the previous Mod Monday. This is another one from him. This is Egyptian style. No, it's not. It's just a pyramid style building. It's actually something that caught my eye because I think it's really interesting. It's small in the footprint that leaves. It's not too big of a building. It houses 400 people. Now I sat down and started counting. So we have 10 floors here times 4 width. That would be 40 apartments on this side. Let's go for 40 apartments on this side. And let's just say that this apartment here is the same as this one over here. So you would have only half of them, half of the apartments on these 2 sides. So we would have 40, 40, and 40. That would be 120 apartments times 2 would be 240, I would say, realistically, capacity for these buildings. But they have 400 people. This is the downside of it. First of all, I love the building. The building is amazing. I'm gonna be using it. I promise, I swear, we're gonna be using these buildings because I love how they look. They look amazing. Right, they can be found in your mod section. Of course, I restarted this, so it won't be the last ones that we have, but here we go. Pyramid, 27,000, and you can see how much the electricity and how much heating they need, how much it costs. To build it yourself, it requires 1,302 work days, so it's nothing spectacular, but I think this is definitely gonna beautify the city. This is what I'm gonna be using myself, definitely. Mr. Haidong. Okay, Novu, Mr. Wizard, he strikes again. Airport Hotel. A combined terminal and a hotel. The buildings stack on top of each other. They can be built either together or individually. I'm gonna show you what it means. Novu has a lot of experimentation with, let's say, physics around this game and where you can play stuff. And he has a lot of success. I'm gonna show you what it means. First of all, airport on its own looks... it looks weird. I wouldn't call it pretty, but I don't think it was meant to be used on its own. Okay, so this is the airport building and this is a hotel building. So let me continue reading. The airport hotel is compatible with vanilla airport terminal and can be placed on top of low-rise buildings as well. Mr. Novu made this one and it's really amazing. So let me show you how it works. So if we go to a hotel section here and we find our airport hotel, it's already aligned. I'm gonna just align it again for you to see how this works. I'm just gonna mess it up here because then it's not perfectly aligned, so I'm gonna show you how this works. You just align your building so it's parallel to something, and if you zoom in you can see these stilts down there. If you align them that they are kind of overlapping with each other, more or less, it doesn't have to be perfect, it can be whatever you feel like, but let's say that this is kind of okay. And if we build this, we're gonna see how it's gonna be finished. Here we go, let's just pay for this. And yeah, I did a little bit of boo-boo there. Actually, maybe not. No, I think it's gonna be fine-ish. There we go. And this is how it looks. There's another good benefit when, well, this is being built, of these buildings that Novu places. You have a lot of issues placing these buildings on the hilltops. A lot of buildings on the hillsides. Now, this can fit anywhere. You can literally build it over the water if you want, but don't. Try to keep it realistic, and that would be nice. And also you can build it as, for example, here, but you will have some issues connecting it to a road system, and I would like to say that, you know, if you can, just try to be a little bit more realistic where you place it. So if you go for, let's say, hillside, and you want to place it overlooking our, let's say, this river here, I think this would be quite nice place to place it. So if I go to auto build, you shouldn't have any issues building roads over here, you know, just be reasonable to where you're building it, and I think everything is gonna be fine. Yeah, I wouldn't build it over water, even though that's a possibility. Actually, why the hell not? So if you would build it like something like here, So it's partially over water, partially over land. I think this would look nice as a, well, sea hotel or something like that. Okay, anyway, it's finished over here. You can see how it overlaps. You can barely see that I had a little bit of alignment issue, and you can click on them just if you go a little bit on the side here. You can click on a hotel, and airport, of course, you can click anywhere else. So these are two buildings made by Novu. They are quite amazing. I like this is a third already mod for the airport, and I love them all. I think I'm going to be using them all. This is amazing combination. Mr. Novu, thank you again. Right, okay, this building here, you see this huge building? Well, don't pay attention to that because that's a normal TV station, vanilla one. Pay attention to this building here. And this is one of the series of buildings that, again, Mr. Novu made. What is this? So this is television studio tour. Build it next to your television station. You can build it anywhere. You can build it in the middle of the desert if you wish, in the middle of the water, ocean, whatever. Build it build it next to the TV station. You have several mods similar to this. I'm going to show you two. This is for television station tour, or if tourists want to see our propaganda machine, you know, why not cash in on that? So if you place it, you don't have to, but if you place it next to a TV station, it's going to be perfect because your tourists are going to be coming here and visiting, simulating visitations to the TV station. I think this is just amazing mod, and I think I'm going to be using this one a lot because this is additional. This is something that's realistic. This is something that people want to see. People want to go to these countries and see how, in this case, propaganda is operating, history of the building design, you know, history of our little brutalism and stuff like that. I think this is a genius idea. You're gonna see with the next mod what I mean by that. But anyway, so this is Mr. Novu's. You can see all the links in the description. Television studio tour, visitor center, and guided tours of the city TV studio. For best result, place it near television station. Okay, moving on. And again, Mr. Novu, historic cathedral tour. Guided tour of your city's historical cathedral to be built next to the full-size cathedral, classified as a site tower. Right, so this is the one that we're talking about. So this is a site tower. This is historic cathedral tour. It's kind of in the style of churches and cathedrals, except it has Marx and Engels and Lenin pictures over here, and communist propaganda. So this would be perfect for tourists visiting and kind of showing these historical cathedrals, and getting some of those Vladimirs and Benjamins on the side, you know, from our good tourists by showing them historical monuments of our city. Okay, so Right, as previously mentioned, as our television tour, you can find the cathedral tour as well here in the attractions on the mods, and you can see how much they cost. Television tour again around 10,000 rubles, and the cathedral tour around 20,000 rubles. I think these buildings are really cool, and I think I'm gonna be using all of them. Like I said, there are several more. Find out about them in the workshop. Of course, you're gonna find links to these in the description, and check out other Novus mod. I think there are 4 or 5 of them, but that's something you're gonna have to find out. Right, here we go. Something different. Somebody designed something to fit our new aluminium industries. Everything is built out of prefabs. Everything looks extremely like a combinate. It looks really, really good. Let me read a word or two about this. This is made by Legend Gamer, and of course, in English description is support services for the stable functioning of aluminium smelter. Construction office for 10 cars, 2-car depots, 7 and 14 cars, auto depot for 7 cars, snow removal servers for 7 cars, factory, outpatient clinic, plant management, city committee, fire department of the plant, and 1,125 tons of dry storage for cement and aluminium oxide. Warning, the mod works only in version 0.8.3. Okay, so what do we have here? These are all buildings you're gonna find in the separate sections of our options here. For example, you have distribution office. So this is service buildings for your aluminium industry. So these are buildings you have even vanilla. They're of course remodeled and they're kind of adjusted to fit nicely better with your aluminium industry. They look really nice. So what they are, in this case, for example, this is distribution office. This would be again distribution office, and then we have here a vehicle purchase for 7 places. Do we have a 14 one? We need to check that. We have our town hall here. You can see accountants. This is a town hall. We have our little medic or doctor's office. Unfortunately, there's no cars associated with this. Then we have our construction office, which is again all aluminium based and all based on the same template to fit nicer with aluminium industry. I'm gonna show you how this looks when we populate them with trucks, and I'm gonna just go for a few of those and see how this looks. I'm gonna go for bulldozers, and let's go for one excavator just to see how it looks like. It's a little bit on a tight side. You can see that some mods overlap, but I think it's a good addition to your aluminium industries if you can not think about these things here. Anyway, continuing on, we have this would be your fire department with 3 vehicles. That's perfectly fine for this kind of industry. We have a storage here for 1,170 tons cement or aluminium. You can of course limit it as you wish, and we have a snow clearing services. Of course, this is the technical services over here. Yeah, I think this is a neat little mod, and I think you guys are gonna like this one. Okay, recently I had renewed interest in nuclear power in the last couple of weeks or month or so. I wanted to explore more options with our nuclear power plants, and we have something here. This is made by Dirty Dirk, and I'm going to read a little bit of a description because this is a long description. Our BMK 1500 nuclear power plant, the main characteristics of the mod are as follows: 110 workers needed, 90 engineers needed. So if you click on it, you can see all of that. 15 high voltage connections, 1 road connection with 2 loading spaces, 3 factory connections, pedestrians and connections. So this is loading spaces. Let's see where our industrial connections are. This is for storing your waste, nuclear waste or nuclear fuel. You can connect it there. Of course, you have 15 connections for your high voltage power lines. They are all on this side, and there are 2 connections to steam towers. Let's call it steam towers, even though they are something new that I also find renewed interest in. And these are 2 buildings that are actually, they have to be built on the riverside or a seaside, so they can release hot water into the environment. Fish love that. So we have a small restaurant over here with fish soup. And right, so the size of the power plant is somewhere in between. It's 5 times bigger than vanilla coal power plant, but it fits somewhere in between. You can see here 7,205 megawatts of power, and if you check the comparison to our existing nuclear power plants, would be 4,680 and 9,360, so it would fit perfectly in between those 2 if you want to nitpick and see how that's gonna work. And this is something different. How much it costs, it doesn't really matter. I'm actually loving this mod. This is something that you're gonna see in my gameplays, but let's check it out. Under power plant, we would have it, just give me a second, here we go. This is the one. And then you have under cooling towers, so it's pretty big. I have to say it's pretty big. We're gonna compare it to the vanilla power plants. So you can find it here, and cooling towers, again, you can find them over here. So you have overfall weir, and you have cooling water pumping house. So this is a cooling water pumping house, and you have this one over here. Okay, size comparison, let's see here with vanilla power plants. So this is a small single reactor nuclear power plant. You see that it's several times as big, probably 3 or 4. And then you have a twin reactor nuclear power plant, which is half the size, more or less. So we are talking about something huge. So this power plant is quite big, and it has a history actually. This is the launching design is in Ignalia nuclear power plant, Unit 1 and 2, possibly the later designs for Unit 3 and 4, also of Kostroma nuclear power plant, which was cancelled, unfortunately, will be following later. This is something, historical information. RBMK was the last most advanced RBMK design that was established in the USSR. Despite the planning of 8 units of this type, only one was ever built at Ignalina nuclear power plant in Lithuania on the shore of Lake Druiškaja. Okay, that's a little bit over my... Anyway, there's a huge description of this nuclear power plant, and its historical design is quite correct, and I'm actually quite loving it. Like I said, you're gonna see this in my Let's Plays. And the last one is Memaslawia. Memaslawia is fictional mountainous region with a large complex river system. I would like to read your opinions, so write me in the comments. Have fun and thank you. This is made by Mema 80, and of course he named it after himself. How egoistic of you! I mean, seriously, no. But this map is actually quite nice, I have to say. So you have a significant feature of the map is this island where represented most of our buildings, and I'm gonna talk about this island a little bit later. And mostly around this big river you have some flatlands which probably your industries and cities are going to be built. It has a lot of mountainous areas which is going to be kind of inhospitable for construction, but I think nothing that you guys can't handle. I think building a lot of thin long cities would be definitely an option in this case. Large river system, as you can see it here, as I'm going around the map, you can see that it's quite... you can use ships here, so let me not look for a better word than that, you know, me being old school wordsmith. Right, so it's quite mountainous, quite hilly, and it's connected on all sides with the rivers. You have a couple of border crossings as well, but I would suggest that you use the river system. You can see here they even have a tunnel system going across the border. There are several border crossings, and they are quite well done, I have to say so. And one of the biggest ones is over here. It would be in near the before said island. Now let me tell you why I like this map. Look at the resources. Resources are scarce. There are not so many of them. You can mine them. There is significant resource, but it's gonna be hard to get to. So let's see why. So we have a coal mine over here. You can see where our coal resources are on the map. So you have a couple of nice places for your mines, but they're in the hills, so you have to build hill cities over here and then transport your coal or coal ore somewhere else to be processed or burnt, or you can even use it over there. So you have a couple of these big veins of coal, relatively big veins of coal around this hilly area. And if you go, for example, for iron, it's a different story, a little bit different story. Here you have rare, really bad amounts of iron, if you can even find any there around this area. There are a little bit bigger resources of iron over here. This is why I love this map, because it's so intriguing me. Okay, so where's the resource? Let's find all of this. Can we mine this? Yes, you can mine it, but it's not gonna be as plentiful as some maps that are overfilled with resources. And now the oil is gonna be important one. As you can see here, if we go to our oil resource panel and let's see what we have here. We have a huge reserves of oil. This is not dark green that you usually would have. This is here, for example, this is a dark green. Most of it's yellowish green, which is not the best source of oil. But the best source of oil you have is on this island that we mentioned before. It's full of oil. This is something that you're gonna be using as your pumping station for oil, and somewhere on the shores of this river you're gonna be building your refinery or at least storage facilities. And then you have two options to export it. You either can use ships, which is expensive, but in the long run much, well, let's call it better. Or you have this big Svitkove border crossing that has a railroad connection as well. So and a big one at that, and you can build a nice railroad here on the riverside, and you can use either boats or railroad to export your oil and oil products. As well, if you start mining your coal here in the mountains, you can also export it in the same way. I think this is a really good map. I think this is definitely gonna be something that you guys are gonna be interested in. in. I'm loving it. And look at these little rivers. I didn't even check this properly. You have a lot of different connections to your neighbors everywhere, and I bet you guys are gonna be using them. Anyway, this is one of the better maps I saw recently in last couple of months, and I definitely like it. I was surprised by the quality. No people, no population. You're gonna have to start from the scratch, but yeah, that's a charm of yeah, challenge. Anyway, that's it, guys. What's your favorite one? I have no idea from my part. Novu has some new ingenious ideas with these tours. Nuclear power plant is a good one that I really like, and also yeah, I'm gonna, and also my favorite fabs would be one of the definitely. I'm gonna go with nuclear power plant because I'm exploring a little bit more about nuclear energy and stuff, and nuclear power plant is definitely my favorite. Anyway, that's it. This one has been too long. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. If you did, like button, subscribe, notification bell, ring it, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know what you think, and suggestions, please suggest anything, how to improve these videos and what would you like to see. Anyway, have a nice one. Bye bye.